This video is going to take us through 1.3, how do bacteria make you sick. There are some guided notes. This link here, if you don't have your sheet ready, if you click this, it will take you to a Google Doc for your guided notes to fill in. I'm going to point out the highlights in the slides to help you with your guided notes. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do here is focus on the idea that bacteria themselves are living things, right? So that's something we have to understand. They are single-celled organisms. So even in this image here where we see Streptococcus, each of these individual cells is a living thing, and they live in these chains, these little colonies. So they're a chain of single-cell bacteria. They're therefore named Streptococcus. So strepto means chain, and then there's a sphere. Okay, and Streptococcus is the bacteria that causes strep throat. So if you've ever had strep throat, they do a swab test and then they look for this particular bacteria if you have strep throat. So Streptococcus is the bacteria that causes strep throat. There are lots of other communicable diseases that bacteria would cause, and the closed notes ask you to list a couple of them. So any two diseases that you can think of that are caused by a bacteria, right? And so just come up with a list on your own. You can put any two there. A quick Google search will be fine. We'll do this as a class as well. When we talk about bacteria, oftentimes we think of bacteria as things that get us sick. And there are lots of bacteria that are pathogens. A pathogen is a bacteria, or actually a virus or other microorganism that causes disease. So the bacteria that get us sick would be in this big group called pathogens. And there are other ways like viruses as well. But pathogens are bacteria, viruses, and other things that can get us, that cause disease. When we talk about bacteria, because they're living, we put them into something called a kingdom. So humans are in the animal kingdom, dandelions are in the plant kingdom. Bacteria are in the kingdom. Common bacteria is in this group right here called Eubacteria, letter B. And Eubacteria, U means true bacteria. There's also these Acobacteria here, letter A. So both of these are types of bacteria that could be pathogenic. The bacteria itself is made up of a prokaryotic cell. Remember, all living things are made of cells, at least one cell. So our bacteria is a single-cell organism. The cell itself is prokaryotic, which means it does not have a nucleus. So pro means before, and karya refers to the nucleus. So single-cell organisms without a nucleus are called prokaryotic. And there are prokaryotes have been around a long time. They are the most numerous organisms on Earth. And oftentimes, a little cartoon version like this depicts that single-cell organism, and you'll see these little hairs on the outside, and then these long tails called flagella. And we'll do a little bit of work with the different shapes of bacteria in a bit. The bacteria that we see here, again, a little bit more detail. You can see this sort of capsule shape, the long flagella tail, and then we can see the capsule itself, the cell wall, the cell membrane, some DNA inside, and some ribosomes. So rather simple. Capsule's one of the shapes. There are some others. So just like the Streptococci had these spherical ones. So we've got spheres, we've got rods, and then we have spirals. So the official names for those are cocci for sphere, bacilli for rod, and spirilla for the spirals. But spheres, rods, and spirals are the shapes that we're looking at with these bacteria. Bacteria themselves grow in colonies, and so these are plates, agar plates. They have all of the nutrients that the bacteria would need. And if you spread bacteria on these agar plates, because they have all the resources, they grow very, very nicely. And then, of course, you can pull some of these off and look at them under magnification. You can see some of the different shapes if you have a powerful enough microscope. all of these are colonies that we can see here, not individual bacteria. Okay. Another thing about bacteria, because they're living, one way to prevent bacterial infection, so once that pathogen gets in the body, is with antibiotics. And penicillin is the first antibiotic that humans were able to use. The use of penicillin was discovered by this man, Alexander Fleming. And Alexander Fleming, quite by accident actually, a little bit of serendipity, discovered that the antibiotic penicillin would kill bacteria. So we now use these when people get infections. They're quite a powerful tool for us to prevent disease. Not all bacteria are harmful. There are some, in fact, that are quite helpful to us. We use our gut is loaded with bacteria. It helps our digestive system. As we process food through our large intestine, there's bacteria that live there that help break it all the way down for us. So we have a symbiotic relationship with those bacteria. We have bacteria on our skin that help us fight off bad bacteria, so they do fight harmful bacteria. We also use them in things like food production, just so to make cheese, yogurt, beer, and wine. Those are all ways that we use bacteria to our benefit. So just lots of different ways. Just a quick set of examples here. All right, I'm going to pause here, and there's a video for you to watch. It takes about 5 minutes, and it's about the human microbiome. It's a good little video. And so take a few minutes, make sure your headphones are in, and let's watch The Invisible Universe, and then we can come back together and finish out these closed notes.